AFR Talk. You're listening to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. Focal Point with Brian Fisher.
Hi, and welcome back to this Tuesday edition of Focal Point. AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Let's grab a couple of phone calls, start this segment. Let's go to Sean in Canton, Texas. Sean, welcome. What's on your mind?
Yes, I want to comment about what you've been saying about radical Islam.
Yes,
I just
sir.
want to say that, to me, from what I've seen, those who are considered radical Islamics are just following the true Quran. All the others are basically like, all the other Islamics, they're basically like Christians. They go to church, but I don't really believe it that much. And I'm convinced that the Antichrist is going to be Islamic, because Islam is completely the spirit of Antichrist. It denies Jesus as the Son of God. It denies God even had a son, and they claim he was never even crucified.
Mm-hmm. All right, Sean. Well, listen, I agree with you. I think the reality is, President Bush said these people have hijacked a peaceful religion. No, it's the people that claim Islam as a religion of peace. They are the ones that have hijacked the religion of Islam. They've hijacked it. They've turned it into something that it is not, and it never has been, not since the 7th century AD. It has always been a cruel, evil religion of totalitarianism, domination, death, destruction, and the murder of the innocents. That is the pattern of Islam all the way down through history. And so I think Sean's exactly right. It's the ones that carry out jihad that are actually obeying Islam, that they are doing what Islam dictates. A Muslim who kills innocent people in the name of Allah is being a good Muslim. A Christian who kills innocent people in the name of Christ is being a bad Christian. You can summarize the difference between Islam and Christianity in that one expression right there. A Muslim who kills innocent people in the name of Allah is being a good Muslim. A Christian who kills innocent people in the name of Christ is being a bad Christian. And that just crystallizes the difference between the two religious systems. All right, Sean, appreciate the call. Let's grab a call from John, Lafayette, Louisiana. John, welcome, Lafayette, Louisiana. What's on your mind?
Brian, thank you for letting me join the conversation.
You're welcome.
I'm calling because, in my opinion, or our president is one of the main problems in our fight in the fight that we have today.
And can you put your finger, John, on what you think the essence of why President Obama is the main problem? Why do you think he is the main problem in the fight that we're fighting?
All right. Number one, he's a socialist. From what I've seen, the man is a socialist.
Yeah, I don't think there's much argument there. I mean, he might try to deny it, but I mean, Pravda, the Russian newspaper, even goes beyond socialist. Look, this guy's a communist. You guys don't recognize a communist when you see one? We know what communism looks like. Yeah, we know communists, and he is a communist. His agenda is the Communist Manifesto. So you can call him a socialist if you want. We know what he is. He's a communist.
Yeah. He went to Columbia University, but I'm not sure how far back, and took a special course for a couple of years on how to bring down the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And this was his main goal in getting into the government.
Yeah. Well, John, it's interesting, and thank you for your call, John. I appreciate that. He was a real fan of Saul Alinsky, and Saul Alinsky was all about how you advance the socialist agenda. You trace the dots, as Curtis Bowers did in his movie Agenda, Grinding America Down. You can trace the dots from Saul Alinsky all the way back to Karl Marx, just an unbroken kind of line of transmission, and President Obama stands as the heir of that tradition. And, his training at Columbia, which, as all universities do today, virtually without exception, lean pretty far to the left, will simply have accentuated that. All right, let's go to Terry, Dallas, Texas. Terry, welcome. What's on your mind? Terry, are you with me?
Oh, hello.
Yes.
I've got two questions. One
Yes,
of
sir.
them is from a couple of weeks ago when you were talking about the demons that went into the pigs and then into the river and they killed the pigs.
Uh-huh.
I never could get back in on time, but do you know what happened to the demons then? Does the Bible say they went somewhere else, or do you know? And my second question is about the Affordable Care Act. I've read that it's been postponed for individuals, but is that only for people who's had policies that were canceled, or can that apply to people that didn't have any insurance at all?
Okay, that's a good question, Terry. Two good questions. The answer to the first, where'd the demons go? I don't know. Now, the demons pleaded with Christ not to send them out of the area. They didn't want to leave that region because that region was very friendly to demonic spirits, and if they were sent into Israel, it would be less hospitable to what they wanted to do. So Christ basically gave them permission to stay in that region. Now, they have no interest in being in dead bodies. I mean, they got no use for dead bodies. So when they drove the pigs over the cliff into the sea, then I think the demons came out of the pigs and they went somewhere else. Jesus said about these demons, they go through waterless places seeking a place to rest. So they would have gone out wherever they went. In that region, I think Christ apparently circumscribed the area in which they could operate, but they went out looking for places to find rest. Now, when it comes to the exemption for Obamacare, the individual mandate, in my judgment, again, somebody's going to have to probably test this, but in my judgment, President Obama just canceled the individual mandate altogether. Not just for those. The wording is such that it appears to apply only to those who had their insurance policies canceled. You got dropped, your policy got canceled, and you believe you've got a genuine hardship. We're not going to hold you accountable to buy insurance like everybody else is. But there's elsewhere in the provisions there where if you've got any kind of a hardship whatsoever, it can be any kind of a hardship whatsoever, you don't even have to be able to document it. It could be that it's just unaffordable for you, because that's the main reason that people are citing. A third of the people that are uninsured, this poll came out yesterday, a third of the people that are uninsured have absolutely no intention of getting Obamacare. They're not going to buy it no matter what anybody does or tells them they need to do, no matter how many people twerk themselves off the counter in the bathroom. They're not going to go buy Obamacare. They're just not going to do it because they don't need it and it's unaffordable. And my understanding is that Obama, this latest regulation business, somebody's got to do is to say they had a hardship, they couldn't afford it, they have some other unspecified hardship, which they don't even have to document. I mean, the language is documentation if possible. So somebody says, well, I'd like to document it, but I can't. Okay, well, that's fine. It's impossible for me to document it. Then they're obligated to just kind of take their word for it. So the way I see it, Terry, they just canceled the individual mandate until after the next election in 2016. That's the way I see it.
But you have to fill out that form, right?
Well, I don't even know if there's a form, because documentation, if possible, I guess I don't know. I mean, again, Terry, nobody knows how this thing works. This thing is just a complete, absolute, total disaster. It's a complete and total, absolute, upside-down mess. So who knows? We're going to just, you got to pass it to find out what's in it. Then they change it after you pass it. After you find out what's in it, then they change it. So, I mean, who knows, Terry? I wish I had a good, clear answer for you, but I don't. I appreciate your call. I got another story in the stack. Don't have time to get to it, but a guy stuck with $407,000 in expenses because he signed up for insurance. He paid for it. He paid the premium starting in November, has a heart attack on December 31st, racks up $407,000 in costs, and now nobody will pay for his health care costs. The Xerox is saying, no, it's not our problem. It's Leroy's problem. Leroy's pointing to Xerox and no, it's not our problem. It's Xerox's problem. Meanwhile, nobody will pick up the tab for his $407,000. He paid the premiums. He paid them right along, and now he's stuck with $407,000 in medical bills after he had signed up on the Obamacare exchange and paid his money. He is a paying customer. He's not one of these 20 to 50% that signed up for it, enrolled, put it in the basket, and never paid for it. He paid for it, and now he's stuck with $400,000 in unpaid medical bills. I mean, the thing is just a total, absolute, complete, unqualified disaster in every sense of the word. And Democrats are panicked. Let's grab clip 2, the Touré clip. Here is what these desperate Democrats are now proposing. This is Touré, MSNBC.
Bill Clinton led Dems out of the electoral wilderness by being a centrist. Obama won by promising hope but being a moderate. But in a way, the whole debate is a false choice because Warren is revolutionary because she's new and hasn't had to do the compromising that comes with governing. Hillary has been in the governing class for decades, and getting things done requires compromise. I hope Warren continues to stand down so that the most electable Democrat we've had in decades can win. At a moment when we are looking at a potential 2014 disaster, Dems have got to worry more about pragmatism than about political purity. That test is destroying the Republican Party. And one more thing, Hillary Clinton, she of health care, is more liberal than she's getting credit for.
All right, so that's Touré. He's a pundit on MSNBC, and he used the word disaster. We are looking at a disaster in 2014. We can no longer hold out for purity. I mean, he's sounding just like a Republican. What do the Republicans always say? We got to be pragmatic. We got to go with the most electable candidate. Now, Touré is saying the same thing. Look, Elizabeth Warren, I like your politics. You're more liberal than Hillary Clinton. You're more extremist. You're more of a lunatic than Hillary Clinton is. But at this point, we cannot afford purity. We've got to go with pragmatism because our circumstances are desperate. We're about ready to get our hats handed to us. We got to go for pragmatism over purity. Well, that's it for the day. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, with God's help, we are fighting a winnable war. See you tomorrow.